seen clutching a baby and sobbing. One passenger stands up from his seat to confront the flight attendant. American Airlines says they are investigating what happened on this flight. In a statement, they said, quote, "In short, we are disappointed by these actions." The American team member has been removed from duty while we immediately investigate this incident.
Fox's Ellison Barber. It happened on a flight from San Francisco to Dallas. American upgraded the woman and her kids to first class. French voters go to the polls tomorrow to elect a new president after a contentious campaign.
4 candidates are seen to be in the running, ranging from the far right to the far left. Tomorrow's vote is the first round, with the top 2 going through to a runoff next month. But the polls suggest it's too close to call. There are also predictions of a high number of abstentions, people saying they feel let down by the political system. Sound familiar? This man tells me he feels betrayed after the last election.
There are a lot of promise, but they not respect their promise. So it's not interesting me.
The big issues including security, the future of the EU, and the economy.
Fox's Simon Owen. Nearly 36 misdemeanor charges against Dakota Access Pipeline protesters have been dropped. Court records show most of them involve criminal trespass. Another 14 cases were resolved by guilty pleas, including actress Shailene Woodley, star of Divergent films. Her plea deal for disorderly conduct calls for no jail time. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather.
The official FM NewsTalk 97.1 Weather Center forecast calls for a chilly night tonight, and grab a jacket on your way out to dinner this evening if you're going. Skies eventually clear, lows tonight 40 to 44. Then tomorrow, with sunshine, we'll be warming up, and we'll get a nice afternoon with a high near 70. Clear and chilly tomorrow night, low 42 to 46. Nice Monday with some sun and a warm afternoon, high 77. I'm meteorologist Frank Strait for FM NewsTalk 97.1.
You're invited to our next Allman in the Evening speaker series with James Carafano, Genevieve Wood, and Senator Jim Talent as we explore homeland security and how the Trump administration is protecting America. Join 97.1 and the Heritage Foundation Thursday, May 4th at the Norman Probstein Golf Course Clubhouse in Forest Park for a Q&A and panel discussion on policies in the Beltway. This event is free, but you must register to attend. Go to 971talk.com to get your tickets today. Allman in the Evening, presented by Weber Chevrolet. FM NewsTalk 97.1 presents Psych with Mike with Michael Mahon. Brought to you by Royal Gate Dodge. Royal Gate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram with the largest inventory of new Dodge vehicles in St. Louis. Visit them in Ellisville, Missouri or Columbia, Illinois. Online at royalgatedirect.com. This is Psych with Mike.
Good evening, St. Louis. Welcome into another edition of Psych with Mike. So, Mr. Ladd, I heard you on the Annie Fry show.
I'm here every week.
I know that. But tonight you sounded particularly good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How come? Did I say something good? Is my voice better?
I just
the allergens are out there today. I don't know. What is it?
Does Annie like it or not segment?
The Annie, are you okay?
Are you okay with it segment?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It just sounded really good. So
thank you.
I don't know. It's ethereal. It's not something I can put my finger on.
You just liked it.
I just liked it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
So the Blues won. I'm assuming that you are delighted.
I am delighted. Although I was sort of looking forward to a game 6 here at home on Monday, but I'll take a second-round series starting next week at some point.
So those who don't know, you actually are the visitor locker room reporter for the Blues, and so when they play in town, that is actually a gig for you.
It is.
Yes.
It is. All those games dealing with the opposing team generally.
And so how do you go into the visitor locker room when everybody is cheering for the Blues and you're there in the visitor locker? How do you balance that? I've been doing this for 20 years, so I've gotten to the point where I can really separate myself from when I'm watching as a fan and when I'm watching to watch the game to work. It's just I'm secretly rooting, Yes.
I guess. I am, but I'm also looking for things that I'm going to have to ask that other team.
You are a professional.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
Well, I'm going to go that
Thank
far.
you.
You are absolutely a professional. So tonight we are actually going to have with us a couple of special guests. So my friend, Mr. Brett Newcomb, therapist, retired. Do you say retired? Or?
I do say retired,
Okay.
yes.
So
Now I'm just a consultant.
is here, and Dr. Kathy Maupin is here. And go ahead.
Good to see you, Mike.
It's great to see you. We were going to do this before, and we were setting this up, and Dr. Maupin was coming back from Israel. She said, let's do it the day after I get back from Israel. And I thought to myself, that's not fraught with disaster. But it turns out that you got horribly ill.
I got very ill on the last 5 days of my trip. It wasn't pleasant, and I had to come home for real medicine. So I got better much faster when I was home.
Well, I am glad to see that you are feeling better
Thank
and that
you.
we could reschedule and that you could be here tonight. So to start, why don't you just give us a little bit of background about what you do? And probably a lot of people have heard you on Dave's show, but for those people who haven't.
Well, I am since we're later, I can say I'm the hormone queen. So I take care of both men and women over 40 or less if they've had hysterectomies or had head injuries. I take care of the hormones of people who don't feel well because of aging or because of some injury. And I was trained as an OBGYN, but I no longer practice as an OBGYN. I only do taking care of patients who are older, who are getting older, and who are losing their testosterone. For women, their estrogen and their progesterone. So I also take care of other hormones, but
Well,
if they
you
are
what's
necessary.
called an anti-aging specialist now,
Right.
and you belong to a couple of different medical organizations that focus on that as a treatment concern. You're going to a convention this week for that in Orlando,
We are.
Florida. And you specialize in taking people over 40 who are having hormone imbalances and other issues and helping them get better.
So is 40 the cutoff? Is that like the demarcation line?
That's the that's the best demarcation for women, and men is over 50. But sadly, men are getting testosterone deficient earlier now. So it is now I'm seeing men who are 40 and have not enough testosterone, so I have to treat that.
So testosterone, obviously, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the book a little bit so that we can...
Okay, so Brett, who is here with me,
Yes.
and I wrote The Secret Female Hormone because it is a book about testosterone for women and how we need it and how no one helps us with it, and how it is the one hormone that we are missing after 40. And if we get that, it solves many of our symptoms that we think are just getting older. So we say we're aging. Really, we're just testosterone deficient. So testosterone in women goes away first, then progesterone, then estrogen, so then menopause. So menopause is the last step in losing your hormones for women. Men lose testosterone and then that's it. They aren't completely zeroed out. They are just low. But women lose all of it.
We call it the secret female hormone because so often people do not know or don't realize that women need testosterone every bit as much as men do. They don't need as much of it, but they need it as much. And it's a critical loss for them. And so we wanted to focus on the fact that women needed this attention because men were already getting it. There are mass production facilities for low T and stuff that where men can get testosterone, and they can get it in different delivery systems, pills and creams and what have you. Kathy focuses entirely on pellets as a method of delivery.
So the testosterone, though, for women, this has got to be, I'm not going to say that this is new for me because I obviously have a relationship with the two of you, and so I've kind of known about this. But for the community at large, my guess is that most people don't associate women and testosterone.
You're right. You're right. They don't. And most doctors aren't trained to know that we have more testosterone when we are in the fertile period of our lives before 40 than we do estradiol. So that's an unusual fact that as a gynecologist, I wasn't trained with until I lost my own testosterone, and no one here could help me. Everybody said I was just crazy. And then my psychiatrist said, "You're not crazy. You are missing something. We just don't know what you're missing."
We make the case in the book that testosterone is the gatekeeper for the aging cascade. So the illnesses and deficits of aging seem to come when you have a loss of testosterone. And that's the first one. And so Kathy's feeling is that she's suggesting a term for other medical specialists of testosterone deficiency syndrome. And she's identified what she thinks the syndrome should look like. And her theory is if people can replace their testosterone, they can avoid or eliminate a lot of the traditional illnesses of aging that people struggle with, so that you can age healthily and function completely until you die. I mean, there's no reason that you have to be stuck in a home somewhere, Velcroed to a wall, drooling, if you can stay healthy. And so she's on a quest to help people stay healthy, and it starts with testosterone replacement and thyroid replacement.
So we are here talking with Dr. Kathy Maupin and Mr. Brett Newcomb about this idea of women and testosterone, which is kind of a new concept in the medical community. You can get us on the phone lines at area code 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. You can tweet us at Psych With Mike. When I was doing my prep for the show tonight, one of the things that I was looking at was this idea of aging, and the numbers are staggering, that people are aging and it's becoming a larger portion of the population, but people are living longer because of medicine.
Yes.
And so by the year 2050, there's going to be, what did I look at, 30.4 million individuals who are going to be between the ages of 87 and 92. So that is pretty phenomenal. That's a large number, and they're going to need new advances in medicine to be able to improve the quality of life into those old years.
Medicine has spent all of its time and money and research on how to get us to live longer.
But not necessarily better.
But not better. So what I'm adding to this, and what all of the anti-aging doctors, and there are thousands and thousands of us in the country and worldwide, there are more, we are trying to get people to live well independently, have our muscle mass, which is dependent on testosterone, have our bones, not be breaking our hips, not be dependent on a nursing home, not be dependent because our brains are not going to shrink if we have testosterone, thyroid, and obviously proper nutrition, but exercise, because we can exercise if we are not sick and if we have good muscle mass. So these are the things that are going to keep us healthy, but we can't do these things unless we have testosterone, and for women, estrogen as well.
So this becomes a preventative to things that we think about as deficits of aging, like low bone density and cognitive deficits.
That's exactly right. This is something that prevents those osteoporosis from happening, breaking hips, and having your joints actually dissolve or require joint replacements, have to do with the lack of testosterone, which preserves joints and preserves bones and the muscles around them. So this is a really important thing. We also have an obesity problem, and testosterone is the hormone that supports muscles, and that's where you burn your calories. You don't burn your calories, most of your calories, in your brain or in your intestines. You burn them in your muscles. If your muscles dissolve, and if you think about your grandmother, all of her muscles dissolved. She had no muscles and you could tell that her bones were thinning and she was weak. She was not burning calories, so she got fat. So this is necessary for us to stay slender and muscled and not have a lot of belly fat, which is not good for our hearts.
So let me think through something here.
Yes.
Okay. So we know that we've got to bring down the cost of medical care. And we know that we spend the majority of the money in medicine on elderly and extending just the number of years that people live. And a lot of the money that goes into that is exactly what you're talking about, the dealing with dementia, dealing with the loss of bone mass, dealing with the loss of muscle mass, the increase in pharmaceuticals that people take to keep them alive. Right.
Depression, anxiety, all those issues.
So this would
fragility.
Be significantly less expensive
Well, that's
than
what
that.
we find. When people come to see Kathy, they say, oh my gosh, this is expensive. But what they don't factor in or what they don't know at the time is that many of them are on multiple medicines already that they can come off of and do come off of once they get their testosterone replaced, and they are no longer paying for those doctor visits and they're no longer paying for those medicines, and it's a net win for them financially, and it's a net win for the system, the economic system financially, when people don't have to use all those treatments.
I have patients that come to me that are brought to me by their spouse because they're going to have to go to a nursing home if their spouse can't take care of them and their spouse can no longer do that. They're in a wheelchair. So I give them testosterone to build their muscles up. Even if they're not moving, their muscles build as long as they have enough protein in their diet. And they are able to then transfer themselves from their wheelchair to their bed, to their bathroom, so that their spouse can be the one that is still taking care of them. They don't have to go to a nursing home. That saves them a ton of money, and it saves society a ton of money. That's my goal. My goal is to never have people in the nursing home like my grandparents or my parents even, or my in-laws.
Well,
I don't want that. I want people to be well and live independently, and that's the goal, really, the long-term goal of this.
Mike, you know my wife. She went to see Kathy, and she was suffering from osteopenia, almost to osteoporosis on the scale that they used to measure it. And her gynecologist was giving her Fosamax. And Kathy said, come off the Fosamax, do the testosterone replacement, let's see where you are. And within 2 years, she went back to her gynecologist for a bone density test, and her bone density score was normal. She had regressed from nearly osteoporosis into osteopenia back to normal. That is not that rare.
That is rare. That's very rare. It's rare unless you have testosterone.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
And I went
was
from
stunned.
And I went from osteopenia at age 42 because I had taken Lupron, which is a infertility drug, which caused me to have osteopenia. And then when I started on the pellets 2 years later, I owned one of those machines. So I just, would jump on the machine periodically. In 2 years, I had normal bones, and I still do.
So then let me ask you the next obvious question. Why isn't medicine all over this?
Because they're making a lot of money doing the other stuff.
Yeah, all the other drugs. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies run the country,
and because
basically.
doctors haven't been trained to look at it that way. They were trained in school to learn certain things 15, 20 years ago about this is the way the system works, and they're reluctant to revise their understanding and their treatment protocols. One of the issues that we'll talk about is the issue of what's your strategy for medical treatment. Is it symptom reduction or is it normalcy ranges? Do you get a blood pressure range or a lab test range for something? And is your goal to get somebody in the golden spot, the sweet spot, or is your goal to get them to where they feel better and they don't have the balance issues or weakness issues or bone fragility issues,
difficulty
or
remembering things. I mean, patients within a year of starting testosterone, if they haven't been longer than 10 years of having trouble with their memory, they're back. And I mean, I've had that, and I had that right after my ovaries were removed. Couldn't remember the names of things. Doctors I've referred to, or drugs I've used for all my life for treating patients, I couldn't remember them. And then when I got testosterone, because it was a short-term loss, I got that back right away, and it was dramatic.
So my guess, though, would be that there are people who manufacture the testosterone, right?
They're compounding pharmacies. We don't have an FDA-approved non-oral testosterone for women. We have a compounded testosterone that's made into pellets, and I have two pharmacies I work with and you have to know your pharmacy, and you have to trust them, and you have to know that if they change anything, they will tell you, because that's critical to my treating all of my patients. So I have two very worthy compounding pharmacies who I use, and they give me the same dose and with the same pellet every single time, so I can figure out a dosage for a patient that is reliable, and that's very important.
And I know we're getting really geeky, and this probably isn't really helpful for a lot of people, but I just want to ask one more question on this issue. So there aren't any real money. There isn't money behind any organization to go out and do the research to actually produce.
You're absolutely right.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But there is research being done that is independent, and lots of it.
And international.
And it's international research, mostly in England, and some in Europe, in other places in Europe. But we have some here too. So we get that through the Endocrine Society and also through the Age Management Medical Group, and we get that research sent to us.
Okay, we are here with Dr. Kathy Maupin and Mr. Brett Newcomb. We are talking about hormone replacement. I know we've gotten kind of geeky about a lot of technical stuff in this first segment, but when we come back, I promise we are going to talk more about things that people can do and benefit from this kind of therapy. So catch us on the flip side. We'll be right back.
Talk lines are open now, 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797. This is Psych with Mike.
Traffic reports at your fingertips. Real-time traffic online. Log on to 97.1talk.com for real-time traffic updates.
Brought to you by Frank Lita Acura with 0.9% financing going on now. Can't beat a Lita. Online at litaacura.com.
Hey, St. Louis. Brett Hall for Railgate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Got a hull of a great deal on a hull of a truck now at Railgate during the spring clearance event. Lease a new 2016 Ram Quad Cab 4x4 from only $159 a month. Choose from over 200 Rams in stock. You heard right. Only $159 a month for a 2016 Ram Quad Cab 4x4. Visit Railgate today in Ellisville, Missouri or Columbia, Illinois, or online at railgatedirect.com.
See dealer for details. Payment is for 36 months with down payment with approved credit.
Visit Railgate Dodge in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych with Mike and get the Royal Package at no charge.
Kubota's Orange Opportunity Sales Event is going on now. Take on all kinds of jobs around your property with a Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor. The Kubota BX is gentle on turf, but has the power and versatility to handle a wide range of garden and yard chores. Now get financing as low as 0% APR for up to 84 months. Now through May 31st, 2017. Call toll free 1-800-794-4992 for details about cost and terms.
Visit MissouriKubotaDealers.com or IllinoisKubotaDealers.com.
America in transition.
Friends, critics, allies, all kinds of people are worried about it, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Making America great again requires more than 140 characters.
Internationally, China's state news agency is saying an obsession with Twitter foreign policy is undesirable. They're basically calling on him to shut it down, saying it's not child's play when you're dealing with these big issues in 140 characters or less. But listen, he made history by the way he used social media in the elections. Here's what Professor Michael Cohen from George Washington University told us about Trump's use of Twitter.
Most campaigns have teams of people who are designing tweets and testing tweets and rolling them out over time. If Donald Trump feels something today, he's going to tell you that.
We're told by his own staff, listen, he wants to tweet it, he does. So it remains to be seen if he might use his multiple Twitter accounts differently as president. Got that at real Donald Trump versus the official presidential account he's going to get. In Washington, Shannon Bream, Fox News.
Hey, this is Reba McEntire, and I wanted to talk to you about a serious problem right here in our own backyard. Did you know that there are nearly 16 million kids struggling with hunger in America? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks collects surplus food, engaging their communities in solving hunger and giving hope to hungry kids and their families. But they need your help. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing.
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Maryland Heights Police Officers Association and FM NewsTalk 97.1 are teaming up to host a charity golf tournament with all the proceeds going to the Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital. Play around for the kids on Monday, June 5th at the Golf Club of Florissant and help children in need. Team registrations include food and drink with an awards dinner following the tournament. If you'd like to help out but you can't make it, donations are accepted. Visit 971talk.com to sign up for your foursome and to help the Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital.
Follow Mike on Twitter at Psych With Mike. Now, more Psych With Mike on FM NewsTalk 97.1.
Welcome back into the Royal Gate Dodge Studios. We are back, Psych with Mike. We are here with Kathy Maupin and Brett Newcomb. We are talking about hormone replacement therapy. And now what we'd like to do is talk a little bit about what some of the benefits of this procedure are. So we were talking about in the break that you guys do a podcast. So why don't you give the information about the podcast?
Oh, man. I mean, maybe you should talk about the podcast.
BioBalanceHealth.com. You can find it on Kathy's website. You can find it on YouTube. We have 350 episodes that we have filmed. They all run around 20 to 25 minutes.
Which is more than there is Psych with Mike.
So far.
Just in case
so
you're
far.
wondering.
Yeah. And they focus on all kinds of interesting medical topics, the things that are in the news for all sorts of issues, but particularly hormone replacement concerns and treatment of the aging populations. But we have a lot on PSA, digital exams, breast cancer, all of the cancers and hormone replacement.
But we get
sex.
the most hits on the ones about sex.
About sex.
Sex, orgasms. I mean, you put orgasm on the title and you get tons of people listening.
That's what we were talking about in the break.
Yes.
That when you guys, because I've been saying that I want to increase the podcast numbers for Psych with
We
Mike.
should talk about sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the break, we were talking about that when you guys have sex in the title of the podcast, that the hits just go through the roof. So what is it about this treatment that is beneficial specifically in the area of libido and the ability to perform?
Well, you did a show a week or so ago about oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
You know about the benefits of oxytocin. And
So you do listen.
Of course.
That's fantastic.
But testosterone
we're at
is
least two.
But testosterone is the key to oxytocin. So if we replace bioidentical testosterone for our patients, their oxytocin goes up and their orgasms
restored. Yes.
Well, their orgasms go up, and their libido goes up because of just the testosterone. But the orgasms have to do with the oxytocin that is stimulated by testosterone. I mean, I'm not going to bore you with all of the different interactions between testosterone
we can make
and
this
the other
about
hormones.
sex to the point. I mean, about specifics to
We're
the
not
point
going
that
to talk
it's not
about
about sex. Yeah.
But it is about sex, and I mean, people come to me and say, this is really heavy. You guys probably understand this when you're in your office and patients come in and say, okay, doc, if you don't fix this, we're getting a divorce.
Yeah.
I mean, that's heavy. That's like the worst possible pressure I've ever had. I mean, I'm an OB. I deal with all kinds of things that is considered pressure and life and death. But when someone says, my marriage depends on this, you've got to fix her or him, then that's big. And in general, 99% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
this does it. They've usually been through counseling. They've already been through all of that, but they need sex drive to actually have we call it their appetites, to make their appetites equivalent. If one person wants to have sex and one person doesn't, then you can't come to the middle. If one person wants to have a lot of sex and the other one wants to have some, then you have to come across and say, we have to have a discussion here, and we have to decide on an amount. How many times are we going to have sex this week? Are we going to have sex every day? Are we having sex twice a day? It depends on what everybody comes to an agreement on. But if one person doesn't want to have sex at all and views it as, ooh, yuck, I don't want to do that, that's a hormonal thing. I'm not kidding. I mean, sometimes it can be other things, but in general, if you've already been through counseling, that's a hormonal thing. And we just have to give that person testosterone again, and they have a sex drive.
So I did just do a show on oxytocin, but then I'm also... Well, I also know, I was going to say I'm also under the impression, but I know that this is also very essential for other neurotransmitters that control mood regulation and emotional regulation. So if this hormone is either low or absent, then an individual is going to suffer not only libido, but also depression, anhedonia, all those other things.
And
that
anxiety
we
sometimes, because that when your testosterone's low or your estrogen is low, FSH and LH surge, and that gives you an anxiety attack. So people who've never had anxiety attacks have anxiety attacks.
They do. And another issue with that is ED drugs. And a lot of men who start to have functionality problems with erections will go to their doctor and say, I want an ED drug, and they'll get it. And what nobody acknowledges at that point is that the problems that you're having with erections are like a 5-year warning issue for heart illnesses and a stroke and heart attack. You're having blood circulation problems that's a very clear warning for. And so most of the guys that take ED drugs, if that's all that they do, within 3 or 4 months they quit taking them because it's not getting the results that they were anticipating. Their sex life is not all better. And that's because they don't have the libido. You have to have the testosterone to get the libido. The testosterone has to be in the right number zone for the symptom to alleviate. And then you may still need, because of your circulation issues, an ED drug to make that the best of all worlds. But you're not going to have what you're looking for with just an ED drug.
But the heart disease, I mean, that's a scary thing. So if you think, oh, I need an ED drug and I might have heart disease in 5 years.
Right.
Testosterone lowers LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, and lowers inflammation. So if you take pure testosterone, non-oral testosterone, then you are going to make your cholesterol rating better, your risk of heart disease better, and it's going to clear out your vessels. So those are very important things for somebody who's taking testosterone. It's not just for sex. It's not just for performance. It's not just for desire. It is also to protect you from getting a heart attack in 5 years.
So let's say that there's a guy and he's thinking to himself, I know that specifically the book is for women, but
yes. We're writing a book for men, but we haven't finished it.
Okay. So let's assume that you're a guy and you say to yourself, or you come in and you say, well, Dr. Maupin, here's the thing. I get on the treadmill several days a week and I feel like I've got good muscle mass, but I just don't have a lot of desire and my performance is waning. Can that person be a candidate for what you're talking about?
Yes. Yes, they can. I look at all the labs and their symptoms, okay? So I have to approve them before I let them waste any money on coming in. So I look at their labs, I look at their symptoms. If they have these good points, but also have some bad points, and their labs show that they're free testosterone. The most important is the unbound testosterone, which is called free testosterone, which not many doctors order. That's really the one that should be over 129. That's the key. So you want your free testosterone over that. If they're under that and they have these symptoms, then I will see them and we'll go over everything. Now, sometimes they don't need testosterone. They need another drug. They need like Arimidex or something to decrease their estrogens and make their testosterone more active. But most of the time, they do need testosterone pellets.
But you know, Mike, the internet is a wonderful thing. And they can go to Kathy's website, biobalancehealth.com. and all of the information that they need, the research that we are talking about now, the podcast that we have done, the information that they need about symptoms, questionnaires, all that stuff is available online. And there's a new patient packet for men or for women that they fill out, and they give all their histories. It's a social history, physical history, medical history, and then blood test requirements. They go to their lab locally, wherever they are, get their blood test done. They send all that into Kathy, and then they schedule an appointment. And she looks at the stuff and says, well, you're not a candidate yet, or maybe we need to discuss it, or I've got some other concern. And she literally has people come from all over the world on a regular basis to see her.
I think it's 8 countries right now that we have 8 countries coming to St. Louis for testosterone therapy because they can't find what we've devised. I mean, I devised something that I would want to have, and the treatment I want if I have the problem, or I want my husband to have, or I want my best friend's husband to have, or my best friend. I didn't devise just any treatment for anybody. I want the best treatment. I want the most comprehensive treatment, and I don't want to treat anyone who doesn't need it.
But the takeaway here that I'm hearing is that even if you do feel like you are healthy and you have good levels of muscle mass and everything else seems okay, but there is this problem with desire or performance, you should get that checked out. Now, you may not need the full package of testosterone pellets or whatever, but you don't have to live with that. You have it checked out, and somebody can identify something that can benefit you, and that can help you get back to what was considered at one point normal.
Right. Yes. You don't have to live with all of these difficulties or all these symptoms, the sleeplessness, the fatigue. I mean, you don't have to live with loss of libido or loss of performance. You don't have to live with depression, anxiety. Many of these things are chemical dependent on the neurotransmitters that are stimulated by testosterone. We're supposed to have testosterone. We were only supposed to live to 50 or less.
Right.
And we would have had enough if we lived that long, because we'd be really old between 40 and 50 and be ready to die. But we don't live that long now. We live a lot longer. We doubled that. So we need to live well.
And Mike, you know as a therapist that all the different stratagems that men and women go through to avoid confronting the fact that they don't have desire. Does that mean I don't love you anymore? Does that mean I don't want you anymore? Does that mean I'm having an affair? Should I go out and work on the car in the garage until you're asleep so that I don't have to deal with whether or not you're going to want me? I mean, all those games that people play that might be relational issues, might be honesty issues, but they might also be biochemical issues. And if it's as simple as that and it's treatable, oh my gosh, how much less pain would people experience in their relationships and in their lives if they could get that part fixed?
I mean, fewer divorces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because if you both had a sex drive when you got married and you don't now, one of you doesn't now, then maybe that would solve the problem and you wouldn't have to go somewhere else.
So we have to go to our second break. When we come back, we're going to return with Dr. Kathy Maupin and Mr. Brett Newcomb, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this idea of hormone replacement therapy. Call in if you have any questions. Let us know what you are wanting to know. You can go to their website, biobalance.com, biobalancehealth.com. You can tweet us at Psych With Mike. Back in just 1 minute.
Life goes fast. It's hard to make the good things last. You realize
Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797. This is Psych with Mike.
Don't miss Man on the Street on the Mark Cox Show every Thursday with opinions from the St. Louis public on the day's hottest issues. Check out all the videos at 971talk.com/Cox. Man on the Street is brought to you by Martin & Sons Siding and Window Company.
This is Brett Hall for Royal Gate, the largest Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealer in Missouri and Southern Illinois. With over 1,000 vehicles available at guaranteed lowest prices, why go anywhere else? During the spring clearance event, get a hull of a deal on a new 2017 Jeep Cherokee Latitude from only $19,977. That's 25% off MSRP. These Jeeps are equipped, not stripped. Visit Royal Gate in Ellisville, Missouri or Columbia, Illinois, or online at RoyalGateDirect.com. Number one for a reason.
Sale price includes all incentives. See dealer for complete details.
Visit Royal Gate Dodge in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych With Mike and get the Royal Package at no charge.
It's that time of year for spring fix-up at your home. And let me tell you what, the folks at Rhino Shield can help you this year, and you'll never have to worry about it again, probably for as long as you own the home. A 25-year transferable warranty with Rhino Shield, guaranteed not to chip, crack, or peel. I've got this on my own home. On the Masonite Color Lock siding, it looks as good today as it did the day they put it on. It's great for your home, your business, your church. It's a superior alternative to paint and vinyl, and it lasts. In terms of the paint, when they put it on, it's going to take a couple of days. They're in and out. They're professional, and you were taken care of for 25 years. They even have a special financing for 18 months right now with no interest. Mention Mark for their spring special savings deal. Call the great folks now at Rhino Shield at 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
People are always talking about the stock market, always looking to invest in a good opportunity, something with the potential to grow. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock where you invest to make money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for everybody. I could be the first college graduate in my family, the first district attorney from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there will be a second and a third. This can really be the start of something. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Hey, St. Louis, Brett Hall for Railgate Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Got a hull of a great deal on a hull of a truck now at Railgate during the spring clearance event. Lease a new 2016 Ram Quad Cab 4x4 from only $159 a month. Choose from over 200 Rams in stock. You heard right, only $159 a month for a 2016 Ram Quad Cab 4x4. Visit Railgate today in Ellisville, Missouri or Columbia, Illinois, or online at railgatedirect.com.
See dealer for details. Payment is for 36 months with down payment with approved credit.
Visit Royalgate Dodge in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych With Mike and get the Royal Package at no charge.
Dave Glover.
The Dave Glover Show.
Monday on the DGS, I could lie to you, tell you I know what's going to happen, but I don't. We'll be here.
Dave Glover.
Now weekdays 3 to 7 on FM News Talk 97.1.
Do you
Talk lines are open now. 314-969-9797 or toll free 866-455-9797. Now, more Psych with Mike on FM News Talk 97.1.
So we are back in the Royalgate Dodge studios, and we are going to get back to our conversation about hormone replacement therapy in just a second. Before we do that, just wanted to mention Herbie's. I talk about this every week, so you guys know I am a big fan of Herbie's in Clayton now at the old Cardwell's location. The, what am I trying to say? The outside portion. Patio. The patio is open.
Patio.
Thank you. I was blanking
You might
on the
need
word.
testosterone. It helps with
I
memory.
very well may.
Yeah.
Is open, and it's going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. So if you have the opportunity and you want to go someplace and just have an absolutely magnificent Sunday brunch, go over to Herbie's. I am thinking I'm going to try and stop by there tomorrow. I know that the new chef, Patrick, is getting settled in, and what I hear is that his food is fantastic. He is a very classically trained individual. He is very technique oriented. So if you like that kind of cuisine, go over to Herbie's and check it out. So we're going to get back now to our conversation about hormone replacement. And one of the things that I am very aware of as a therapist is that people don't like to be judged, and they have a real aversion when they feel like that they are judged. And it seems to me that most of the time, probably the individual that needs your services isn't probably, they don't realize it, because for them, it seems normal because they've been living inside their own skin. So somebody else is probably saying, you don't seem like you're the same person, and it's maybe their partner, and that seems fraught with a lot of pitfalls and roadblocks. So how does a partner approach their significant other in a non-judgmental way and say, let's go in and do this thing?
Softly, gently.
This is a Brett question.
You know, you're a therapist, and you and I have done years and years of marriage counseling. And we've dealt with this issue so often. And the two biggest problems are assumptive communications. I assume that I know what you're thinking or what you want or what your issues are. And so then I position myself according to my assumptions. I don't ask. I don't check it out. And then accusative conversations is the other thing. And so I accuse you of being interested in the girl at the grocery store. What you need to do is say, I am really concerned about us. I really want us to make it. I am having some problems. No you conversations yet at all. You don't seem to be responding to me in the way that I would like. Is it possible that there's a medical reason for this? Can we go and find out if there's some external cause that's not relational? Because these things are knowable. And we know this from the research that Kathy has on her website and the experience that she has in treating people with testosterone.
So let me ask you a question, okay?
Yeah.
Because, and I'm being completely 100% honest here, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to this. Would you,
as opposed to the rest of the time you talk?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Would you ever recommend that somebody say to their significant other, there's something going on here, I am not completely satisfied, can we both go and get checked out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, that makes sense.
Could be either one of us. You don't know.
Right.
It's the same issue that comes up when you can't get pregnant. You know, which one of us is the problem?
Right.
Or are we both the problem?
Right.
And so we need to go both get checked out.
I have to say that this is for females, we are a little more observant of our own selves, and
Yes.
women come in and say, oh my God, there is something wrong with me. I'm going to lose my husband. I mean, this is literal. They say, I'm going to lose my husband. I'm going to lose my family. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel like I've got Alzheimer's. I feel like there is somebody else living in my body. What is going on? They don't just feel old. They feel like they're crazy. They feel like something bad has happened to them.
And they say that to their partner, and the partner says,
the
but the
partner-
blues are on.
Yeah, right. So they do. Or they say that to their normal gynecologist, I'm not criticizing them because I was one, and I said the same stuff. Well, I'm checking you out. You know, you're up in stirrups. Everything looks to be fine. Well, anatomically,
Structurally,
yes.
right.
Structurally, everything's fine. But we weren't trained about how to test the hormones for anything besides infertility. So, yeah, we're great at infertility, but we didn't get trained on how to take care of over 40 hormones dropping and what that does to us. It's huge. It is rampant. It's kind of like just having an entire generation inactivated and unproductive. We are not productive when we feel like that, and we need to get productive again. People lose their jobs. They come in and say, I'm going to lose my job. They do if they don't get treated. And if they do get treated, they're like, oh yeah, I got a raise. I'm doing this. I'm so much better. Everybody, I'm happier. Nobody is unhappy with me at work. I'm productive. My husband likes me again. My kids say I'm not nuts anymore. That's what women say. Now, men are the ones that come in and go, I don't know if there's anything wrong with me or not. My wife told me to come. So here are my symptoms, but I don't think there's anything wrong with me. That's a guy thing. And so you go, oh, well, let me show you your numbers.
I'm mindful of a client I had once who came in, and I said, why are you here? And he said, my wife and 3 daughters say I'm depressed. And I said, what do you say? And he said, I don't know. They say I'm depressed. And one of the things that happened is I sent him to you, and you put him on testosterone, and everything got better for everybody.
So
one of the things that I wonder is what made you, I've read the book, and so I absolutely see the logic and the obviousness of what you are talking about. What made you think about testosterone in women?
Well, because my ovaries were taken out and I had an immediate and acute loss of my testosterone. And I think I always had a lot of testosterone. I mean, women who have a lot of testosterone are driven, and we usually are obsessed about getting to a certain goal. And I mean, we just have different qualities because of that testosterone level. And then I had none. No ovaries, no testosterone.
And she went to every doctor in town, and
I
they
went
all
to everybody.
said, you're just getting old. That's the way it is.
You're
That
getting
happens to
old.
women
You need to
of
see
your
your
age.
psychiatrist. I said, I did. He said, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have any psychiatric disease. There's something really wrong with me. Endocrinologist. So by the grace of God, I seriously was bumped into a nurse I've known forever. And she said, what's wrong with you? You look like hell. You've gained 20 pounds. You look like, I'm waiting to deliver a set of twins. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm so tired. I can't do this because it's exhausting. It takes a lot of physical strength. She said, my brother is an expert in this. He's coming in tomorrow. You want to meet him? He's been trying to train a bunch of these doctors around here. And she says, who are complete idiots because they don't want to pay him to train them, but he'll take care of you. He'll diagnose you. I think that's what you've got. Your ovaries are gone. He'll treat you. And if you think this is working, then you can pay him to train you. And I mean, I was better so fast.
And that's common. The difference is knowable very quickly.
If
this is
obvious.
something that helps you, you will know.
But you have said that you have actually people who come to you from other countries.
Yes.
So does that mean that America isn't the only country that is kind of behind the curve on this knowledge?
Right. That's correct.
But I have to say that England, for a long time, did have estrogen and testosterone pellets. You can hear it. One of the Doc Martin episodes talked about it.
Estrogen.
He called it estrogen pellets. And so, but they've used it. And then when they got national health care, they wouldn't pay for it. So everybody stopped doing it. So then they had to use a lot of very expensive hormones that were oral, and they didn't work, and they weren't testosterone.
So tell me, what's the difference between taking something orally, having an injection, and having the pellets implanted?
Okay, so oral testosterone can be dangerous. It is not bioidentical in general. It can be, but it goes through your liver and it becomes estrogen. Not a good estrogen, it becomes estrone. It can have a little bit of testosterone, but most of it becomes estrone. Estrone binds up your testosterone so it doesn't work, and it also bloats you, makes you gain weight, makes you feel old, kind of makes you feel confused. It does the opposite of testosterone.
Okay, that sounds
So if you take
horrible.
it orally, that doesn't work.
Okay.
So if you take it as a gel, 80% of the testosterone gel becomes estrogen.
The cream that you...
The cream and the gel
Uh-huh.
that are approved by the FDA, 80% becomes estrogen, which is why men get man boobs and have blood clots. If you use a pellet, it's pure testosterone. It's under the skin. It is absorbed completely and is pure testosterone all the time until you're done using it.
You get an on-demand reservoir under the skin so that your body
Just like your
pulls it as it needs it, the
testicles.
same way that it was made originally
Or
for you.
ovaries.
So if you start doing pellet replacement, does that mean that your body stops producing testosterone
If
on
you
its
do
own?
any testosterone replacement, it stops your body from making any of its own. Just like birth control pills stop your body from making any estrogen or progesterone. If you take a little bit of estrogen and progesterone and you're female, that stops all of your own production. If you're male or female and you take testosterone, it stops your own production.
So then if you start a procedure like this, does that mean that you are doing that then for the rest of your life?
Not always, but the fact is I don't put anybody on this who doesn't really need it. So if they really need it, they're not going to just dramatically all of a sudden a miracle happens and they make their own testosterone.
Right.
So they probably will have to use it the rest of their lives. However, the testosterone that we use, if you stop using it, your own production will come back. It's just not what I gave you. It's going to go back to
what it was.
Which is
Which
not
was
enough.
low and you were symptomatic before.
Right, and you're symptomatic and you have all your symptoms come back. So that's because we're making you better. When we stop it within 6 months, it'll be gone. So you just go back to normal.
That's the thing that we tell people. You know what? You want to try this? Try it. And you'll know if it helps you. And if you go off of it, you'll know what you return to.
Very few people don't get completely better.
Right. Right.
It's less than 5%.
So one of the things that you were just recently on the Dave Glover show,
Yes.
and one of the things that I heard you say on that show was that unlike if you go to a tea place, they're going to say, okay, normal testosterone is 800, so we're going to take you up to 800. You go beyond what that normal range is. So what's
if
the
I have to.
Yeah.
I look at the free testosterone or the active testosterone
Mhm.
instead of the total.
Mhm.
So the total is between 400 and some people say 1,800, some say 1,200. That's the range in total. But what really your body sees is the free testosterone. So you should be between 129 and 350. But if you're over 350, if you require more
Mhm.
and you're over 350, and that's what it takes to make you feel normal,
Mhm.
then I'll keep you there. There's
Mm.
nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
As long as I make sure you don't make too much estrogen to stimulate your prostate, you don't make too much DHT to stimulate your prostate, and
Mhm.
you don't make too many red blood cells. So
Mhm.
I look at all of these things frequently to make sure that nothing bad is happening.
It's an
That's
apples
the
and oranges
difference
conversation.
between us
Mhm.
and what other people do, where they're just giving you testosterone and saying,
Mhm.
see ya,
Mhm.
bye.
So that's the difference between just looking at a number on a laboratory report and actually talking to somebody and saying, what are your symptoms? Where do you want to be?
Mhm.
And then we're going to get you to where you want to be. And then whatever your numbers are, to get you where you want to be, that's okay.
That's where you're supposed to be, because all of your symptoms went away. As long as nothing else is going wrong,
Mhm.
as long as there's no side effects.
Right.
So we keep an eye on that, and it's very individualized. And I figured this out on how to do this over the last 15 years.
Mhm.
That is longer than anybody's been doing that in St. Louis. So
Mhm.
basically, we figured this out, and we don't want to just give testosterone. We want to treat the whole patient. We want to make sure they are well, that they are going to age well, that they're not going to get sick, that everything we can do to make them well and make their family and their wife or husband happy, that we can do that. Now, we're not counselors.
Mhm.
We send them to you guys.
Yeah.
But if that's needed.
Mhm.
But if it's hormonal, we take care of that part. And any hormones that are abnormal, thyroid, cortisol, we take care of all of that.
And Kathy's practice is founded on the distinction. She is not a high volume generating business person. This is about symptom management. And she is famed as a diagnostician and a troubleshooter. And so people come in with all kinds of imbalanced problems, and she works to solve those problems.
So we have been here with Dr. Kathy Maupin and Mr. Brett Newcomb. I apologize. We are out of time. Why don't you guys give your website one more time?
BioBalanceHealth.com.
And this is Psych with Mike. You can follow me on Twitter at Psych with Mike. You can go to my website to find podcasts, michaelmahon.org. We will be back next week with another edition of Psych with Mike. I'm really looking to pump up those podcast numbers, so tell your friends to podcast the show. And I'm also looking to increase my Twitter followers, so follow me at Psych with Mike. We'll be back next week.
Follow Mike on Twitter at Psych with Mike.
The Financial Symphony is a show that blends the worlds of music and finance together in one harmonious package. It features your local financial maestro, Jerry Means.
A lot of advisors out there are mainly giving accumulation advice or looking at the growth through your working years. You really need to take a look at, is your advisor giving you advice on preservation and distribution?
That's the Financial Symphony with Jerry Means, Sunday mornings at 9 on FM News Talk 97.1.
This is Brett Hall for Royal Gate, the largest Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram dealer in Missouri and Southern Illinois. With over 1,000 vehicles available at guaranteed lowest prices, why go anywhere else? During the spring clearance event, get a hull of a deal on a new 2017 Jeep Cherokee Latitude from only $19,977. That's 25% off MSRP. These Jeeps are equipped, not stripped. Visit Royal Gate in Ellisville, Missouri or Columbia, Illinois, or online at royalgatedirect.com. Number one for a reason.
Sale price includes all incentives. See dealer for complete details.
Visit Royal Gate Dodge in Ellisville or Columbia, Illinois. Mention Psych with Mike and get the Royal Package at no charge.
This is Savannah Guthrie with an urgent story developing all across America. Despite having more than enough food available, there are nearly 16 million kids struggling with hunger. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks engages local communities in solving hunger by collecting surplus food, giving hope to hungry kids. But they need your help. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
What? Why? Just wait for the inheritance. We've definitely got a rich uncle somewhere. We're one call away from the winner's circle at the Derby, dinners with multiple forks, a vacation home in the country, using summer as a verb.
You don't actually think that, do you?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute.
KFTK FM, Florissant. KFTK AM East St. Louis. K254CR St. Louis.
Powered by thehomeloanexpert.com.
FM News Talk 97.1.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. Lawmakers face some significant deadlines when they return to Washington Monday.
Some are fixed deadlines that can't be moved, like the deadline to avoid a government shutdown next Friday. Others are self-imposed by President Trump, like his renewed call to repeal and replace Obamacare. Those right there are two tall orders for Congress to accomplish in less than a week. But then President Trump added even more to Congress's workload with this announcement just yesterday.
We'll be having a big announcement on Wednesday having to do with tax reform.
As for the details of this new tax plan, all we know is that it will involve what President Trump calls a massive tax cut.
Fox's Kristen Fisher. House Speaker Paul Ryan has told Republicans that he wants them to make funding the government their top priority next week. The Taliban is claiming responsibility for an attack on a military base in northern Afghanistan that killed at least 100 soldiers and other personnel.
According to Afghan authorities, the army base at Mazar-e-Sharif was infiltrated by 2 suicide bombers and 8 gunmen who, wearing army uniforms, entered the base in 2 military vehicles. The soldiers were praying at a mosque when the attack began. The 2 attackers who were wearing those suicide vests detonated their devices inside the mosque. The other Taliban gunman died in a shootout with the soldiers.
Fox's David Lee Miller. The weather is helping firefighters gain on a wildfire in Collier County, Florida.
Great that we got the rain. It's great the humidity's up, but it didn't stop the fire. The fire's still out there, and this is only 20% contained. It's just put us in a better position. The winds have died down, which is really nice right now, but it's only 20% contained.
Governor Rick Scott, thousands of people have been evacuated from their home. The governor is delaying a planned trade mission to Argentina because of those wildfires. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
The Dave Glover Show.
Win tickets to DGS VIP by going to 971talk.com. The show is now sold out, but we have your chance to get up close and personal with the Dave Glover Show, Thursday, May 11th at the Playhouse at Westport Plaza. Join us for an intimate evening with Dave Glover to hear his stand-up comedy and unbelievable stories, plus an acoustic Beatles set from the Dave Glover Band. Register to win sold-out tickets now at 971talk.com. DGS VIP, May 11th at the Playhouse at Westport Plaza, where every seat feels like front row. Brought to you by More Choice Jewelry.
The following is a paid program.
The following is a paid advertisement by Purity Products. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases.
Hello and welcome to the program. A great show lined up for you today. Stay tuned. I'm your host, Mark Larson. You're listening to Healthline from Purity Products. A little nutraceutical quiz to start things off today. Okay, now, what ingredient am I referring to here? Put on your thinking cap. Now, this substance plays a vital role in our heart health, in our blood pressure, our brain function, even bone health, muscle strength, restful sleep, and mood. It's involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions in your body. And get this, a recent study just declared a staggering 68% of us may be deficient. That's right, 68%. So what is this? And most importantly, are you one of the 68%? Well, stay tuned. Here with us to tell the whole story is Bill Sardi. Bill is a health journalist. He's written 14 books on health and wellness. He's been a high-level advisor and spokesperson for Purity Products. Bill Sardi, welcome. Great to have you here on the show.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, Bill, let's end the suspense here. Believe it or not, the compound we're talking about is magnesium. And the headlines, they're all over the place. Here's Fox News. Magnesium, the mineral you may be missing. Here's another headline. Magnesium may boost brain power. Even the NIH is saying magnesium is involved in more than 300 biochemical reactions in the body. It's vital for the heart, for the brain, for strong muscles, for mood and sleep. But here's the big issue again. We want to cover this today. Too many of us are deficient, up to 68%. You've been talking about this. You've been an advocate for magnesium for more than 20 years, Bill Sardi. Tell us why you're leading what you call a magnesium revolution, why you're so passionate about this.
It was the late Dr. Mildred Seelig who said that we have a negative magnesium balance in the North American diet, particularly in men, and so we need about 400 milligrams a day. We're getting about 200 milligrams in our diet. Now, we lose some in sweat, we lose some in other